Good morning, legends. What a pleasure to be with you on this beautiful Monday, 8:30. I absolutely love it. It's a great way to start the week. All right, so let's get this going by starting to ask you to go in the comment box below and tell me what it is that you are here to get today. Because when we start our week, it's important to have a focus. And so I want to make sure that you have yours for the week. So what are you wanting to get out of today's espresso shot? And also, what are you wanting to accomplish this week? So it might be in terms of how many posts you do. It might be in terms of how many auditions you conduct, how many second calls, how many clients you onboard, and how much money you bank. So go in the comments below and tell me what you are going to accomplish this week, and maybe put it in perspective with what you've accomplished last week. I wouldn't mind knowing that as well. It'll help me coach you and mentor you and push you in the right direction. All right, so as you're doing that, I've been thinking, I'm interacting with a number of you on a group basis, and sometimes some of you reach out to me individually. And I've observed a few things recently that I think could be beneficial for a lot. And so I'm going to share that with you. In most of my communication since the beginning of the Legends in 2016, I've mainly emphasized what it is that you legends need to do in order to understand the process, learn the skills. You know, I've shared with you what works. I've shared with you the ways that you can make yourself successful. But one thing that I don't discuss very often, or I don't actually remember the last time I have discussed that, are the traps that some legends or some aspiring legends or some struggling legends have fallen into. And I figured it would be a good thing to have that conversation this morning, because it might help you save time and get to the results you want to get quicker if you can recognize that you are falling into some of these traps. All right, so could you please go in the comments box below and tell me what you think are some of the mistakes or traps or improductive or unproductive strategies that you have used over the last 4 weeks that may not have yielded the results you wanted. And as you do that, I'll share the ones that I've got on my list. And so let's start with the first thing. I've put together a process which I call the consultative sales process. And I've been teaching that since the early 2000s. I had to think because, I joined the financial services business in 1996, then built my practice and developed the consultative sales process through the teaching and coaching I got from people like Tom Hopkins and the really great people in the company that I was associated with. And so after that, I also was a consultant in sales, as in I was teaching people in financial services and other areas like telecommunication to sell, but not sell like when you're selling a TV or anything like that, but more in a consulting way in terms of services. So I've got my mind really clear on what works, but I think it's important that you also understand that there's a process. And so one of the first mistakes that I've noted that people make is that they don't follow a process. And if you don't follow a process, then it's really easy to fall in the trap of trying to reinvent the wheel. And so straying from the path, like the path that's been laid out in front of you that many of you have walked before and have had success with. If you're relatively new in the legends, or if you're someone who has been around for a while but hasn't had the success you've been hoping for just yet, I'd like to invite you to really revisit how compliant you have been with taking the process exactly as it's been put together and implementing it exactly as it's been put together. So that's the first thing that I will recommend. Now, give me a thumbs up or a heart if you think that this makes sense. And if you've been around for a little while, you would know that people like, for example, Ian Hawkins were a great spokesperson for that process. And I reckon it's one of the best decisions he made when he decided to follow the process. So that's one thing. The second thing that I've noticed is that some people try to reinvent the wheel. Like, I'll make a recommendation, for example, for a payment system, and I know Rita put that in the comments last week, and that's why I wanted to talk about it. Look, there's nothing wrong with looking at options and looking at other elements that would make your business go well. Absolutely nothing wrong. What I'd like you to focus on for the time that it takes to get you off the ground, to get you going and earning money. Don't waste time on looking for alternatives to what I recommend. Just stick with what I recommend. In the beginning, you don't have to carry your whole business, your whole life with the systems that I'm recommending, but I have picked simple systems that are easy to use that will give you exactly what you need to get started. And if I go back on the post from last week, when I talk about Calendly, I still use Calendly at the moment. It's brilliant. It works. When we had an 11 people team, I had Schedule Once in place because it had some functionalities that were a bit more sexy and complex, and there was a reporting attached to it. But right now it's just me, so I don't need that many sexy features, right? So Calendly works perfectly fine. In terms of taking payments, PayPal, Stripe, really easy. Stripe integrates with pretty much everything I've seen out there in the market. Xero, I don't know if it works in every single country in the world, but for people who are based in Australia, New Zealand, and some other countries as well, it's a great accounting system. So there are some simple systems that if you learn to use them and if you put them in place in your business, they'll serve you quite well. So so don't try to reinvent the wheel. Just go with the basic recommendations, master those tools, and it will keep you doing what you need to be doing and focusing your time and energy on what will give you a return in the very first few months, so that after that, once you've got your base in terms of income for your business and you've mastered the process and you're getting your clients in, about 2 or 3 clients per week that you're signing up, so that you always have enough clients in the pipeline to serve, to have your strong and secure income per week, then you can start allocating maybe an hour a week where you say, all right, well, I'm going to start researching options or alternatives. But it has to make some sort of sense, right? And so stay with what has been recommended. Don't try to reinvent the wheel, because it's actually going to save you a lot of time. So give me a thumbs up or a heart if you think that makes sense, to keep with the recommendations and not try to reinvent the wheel, at least until you have a strong base and a good income that you've managed and you've achieved. Yeah, thank you for that. Fantastic. Okay, cool. Another thing that I've noticed, and you're gonna think this is quite funny, but some people pay me money, most of you, to hear what I have to say as a mentor, but for some reason that I ignore, you decide to do different. So you ask me for my opinion as a mentor, and then when it comes time to implement, you do something different. Well, that's cool. You're free and you can do whatever you like. It's completely up to you to do what you want in your business. But I'll say this, I've been mentored my whole life, and the first person who mentored me changed my life, because she had the hardest job ever. She took me as a completely raw talent, let's go like that, and she taught me so much. She taught me in terms of how to think around my attitude towards money and how to welcome money in my life, because you've heard me say that very often. I come from no money, or very, very little money. That was my family background. And pretty much every option that my parents decided to act on was, instead of going towards wealth, they went away from wealth. I'll tell you that another day. But anyway, so I learned really early in my life as a business person that if I found a mentor that had the success I wanted to have, and they were giving me their advice, or they were showing me a process that worked for them, the easiest way for me to get the results was to just embrace what these people were telling me. Even to this day, I have mentors. I have 2 currently that are showing me new skills. They're opening up my eyes to a new reality for my business, and I'm absolutely loving it. And you know what? I'm embracing what they're teaching me, because it's giving me new skills, new processes that I didn't know before. And so I'd love for you to make your life easier. If you're going to be a part of this group and you've decided to hire me as your mentor, you know what? Might as well give it a go when I make a suggestion. But it's totally up to you, because I absolutely respect that you are individuals and you are fully empowered and you make your own decisions. So at least I'll say this. If you don't agree with something I'm suggesting, put it in the Legends group and let's discuss it. Because maybe I'll be able to give you the reasons why, or the background information that you might not have just yet, that will establish why I'm making a recommendation. All right, so there you go. So that's 3 so far. The biggest one, and that's a big deal. I don't know who's on the call, because I haven't really been able to see. I'm on my computer today, but I'll tell you one thing. I have learned so much in the last 12 months by embracing the teaching of something called the relationship continuum. Now, I'm not going to go on and on about it, because I have in the past and I've shared that with you. But there is one thing that really stands out in terms of success, and it's owning your own success. So I want you to really start paying attention to what you say when you talk about what you're doing in your business and what's working and what's not. I read something last week. Someone was saying, this process hasn't worked for me. So nothing wrong with saying that. It's fine, yeah? But where the problem is that this person, instead of bringing the power within and saying something along the lines of, I need to take action, I need to work harder, I need to ask more questions, I need to get mentor, and that would make the power sit with that person. Instead of doing that, the way that the person had worded it was that the power was external and things were being done to her, or she was at effect rather than at cause. And so I know it's subtle, but you know what? If you look at the people in the world who, even just the people around you, the people who have success, and it could be as simple as when someone decides that they are going to learn to ride a bicycle, they take the steps to make it happen. They buy a bike, they get on the bike, they hire someone to teach them, and eventually you see them riding down the street. It could be that simple. But anyone who has had success has had to take ownership to make things happen for their success, right? And so I would love for you to always do a check-in when you are discussing something that works or doesn't work. How much of it is in your power to influence as an outcome? And I can say that in here, with what I teach you, everything is in your power. I am so available I make myself available. I create events. I create this espresso shot. I created that on top of everything that you guys had signed up for. I make myself available in live calls. I make myself available in the group. If there's anything you need to run by me, you know you can get a hold of me and you can speak to me. And therefore, there's no reason why this process wouldn't work for you. There's absolutely none whatsoever. This process works. The consultative sales approach works and has worked for decades for millions of people, and therefore it can work for you. All we need to find is where are the locked areas within you. What is it that we need to unlock for you to experience this feeling of empowerment and this feeling of knowledge that takes you where you want to go. And be certain of one thing. The Legends is the base of what you're building your business on. The skills you're learning are skills you will be using for the next few decades in your business. Because interacting with people, understanding what makes people tick, understanding how to reach out, how to connect, how to take people on a journey, and then how to make a professional recommendation, leading people to take action because it's good for them. Those are all skills that you must master no matter how your business evolves, because it's always going to be the skills that you use. And so I hope this morning has been useful for you. I would love if you would go in the comments below and tell me, what is the biggest thing that resonated with you this morning? What is it that you got the most value out of? And I know it's gone on for more than 10 minutes, but there were a few elements that I really wanted to share with you. So what is it that made a difference for you? What clicked for you? What is it that you heard that resonated, that's going to help you to take that next step? And if you've enjoyed this conversation, give me a heart, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, give me a thumbs down. Is that even possible? But let me know if this has been valuable and how this has been valuable. It's been my pleasure to be with you. I want to see you this evening. I want to see you in the live session. Come and have a chat. Let's make sure that you've got everything you need to be successful and to move forward. I love you very much. Thank you for the opportunity to do what I love the most in life, which is mentoring amazing people like yourselves. Big hug, big kiss. See you tonight.